All right, welcome to Dubspot Wireless. We got FaltyDL in the house. Eight years on the flute?
8 years on the flute. Got beat up a few times.
I would kick your ass. If I
Made me a sensitive man, though. And I loved it so much. I studied Suzuki method. You familiar?
Yeah.
All
well,
year
for
training?
violin, I know
Sure.
Suzuki method.
And how amazing is that?
It's amazing. I mean, it's created so many musicians who are
It has.
major players. Yeah.
And then I played the upright bass for a number of years.
Oh, nice.
More cool. Didn't get beat up.
Getting
as
a
much.
little better, yeah.
Getting a little better.
Yeah.
Although I played in a klezmer band, so not quite as cool.
So when are we going to bring out the klezmer dub?
Yeah, we should do that. I don't have an upright in New York anymore. I need to go get one.
I can get you one.
Cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I can't.
Okay.
Get you one. So electric bass? Did you get into electric?
I did as well. Yeah, I did that for a number of years. That was like that was the instrument that I really got into for a long time. Did that for about 10 years. Played in a couple bands in New Haven. Then I got totally fed up with that, being in a band, and I decided to start FaltyDL, so I could have like complete control, let my ego run wild, do what I had to do.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice to be solo, isn't it?
It is. My influences have changed a lot. In the beginning, I was definitely influenced by Frank Zappa and his sense of humor. And it made me want to make music with a sense of humor too, and I think that's what I started doing for a long time. Although for some reason I sort of lost the idea there and I got kind of serious. These days I'm paying a lot of attention to Mount Kimby and James Blake. These groups have a huge audience and they just tour nonstop and they play these like really amazing interactive shows with the audience. Interactive, like they're up there, they're really performing. And I think that like is this breath of fresh air into electronic music. And it doesn't take away from a DJ or someone just doing their own solo Ableton live set or whatever. That's all great, but it's nice and it's inspiring and it's influential to see someone really try and do something different like that. But I guess that's been going on for a long time. I mean, there's been people like the Future Sound of London, they had a pretty crazy live show. Yanni's live show is out of control. We were watching that earlier. He docks pay to his musicians if they don't bleach their teeth twice a week, which is really messed up, because that's expensive.
I had to leave.
You had to leave, clearly. No, I didn't mean that. This is version 5. I think this is pretty new. This is very up to date. But basically my whole process is hunting for samples, which I do with a little program called Wiretap that I got as freeware about 5 years ago. And then I ended up paying for an updated version because it had some really cool effects in it, but basically it allowed me to just make a WAV recording or AIF file recording of any audio that was being played on my computer at the time. So I was sampling YouTube videos and spy sampling, whatnot. That and also sampling in records through Audacity, which I do as well. But I will load in a sample, and I brought some with me. Okay, so that's like about 6 seconds of a Miles Davis tune. And I loaded that into the NNXT sampler. And this new sampler is pretty awesome because it allows you to record your own sample into it as well. I can pull up here with just the file, which I've done. I've selected it here. And if I didn't want to do that, I guess I could use the internal microphone and I could just record right into it and make a sample, which is awesome. Because one thing Reason never did for a long time was work with like real audio like that. So that's pretty awesome that you can do that now. But I guess one of the things that I like to do to my samples, because I will never end up paying for the clearance because I couldn't afford it. And I don't sell enough records anyway to really worry about that, but I need to mess with it a lot in order to make it sound like something that doesn't sound like a sample, basically, that I wouldn't get in trouble with using. So this is just playing the sample normally, and then pitching it up a little bit. Keeps the sample's integrity, but what I like to do is bring down the frequency a little bit and raise the resonance. I mess with the rate of the level. I reverse samples as well.
Well, that'll do it.
Anyways, I basically hide the thing as much as possible, so you can't even tell that it wasn't a sample anymore.
By doing that, you've gotten something out of the sample that's completely different than what you grabbed to begin with.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, the point of sampling that wasn't necessarily to use it exactly the way it was, but there was something inside it that you wanted to put into your music that you needed to search for.
I think the reason why we need to sample music is we need to add some sort of a depth to the songs that we're making, so they don't just sound like these sort of like freeze-dried, like taken out of a packet, like songs that are just like fabricated and it sounds very plastic. You need to add some sort of depth to it, and when you're adding in a sample, you add in the entire history of that song, the history of the recording of that song, like where it was recorded, what type of material it was recorded onto, how you then sampled it off there. It's like remember like a 5th generation cassette tape that you get from a friend that's just been recorded over and over and over again. It starts to take on a little bit different type of life, but like there's a real analog depth to that sample that you can't create with just a synth on a program. Like, I mean, these are great, this is fun, but this doesn't sound like anything very natural, really, or like, or timeless. You know, it doesn't really have that same sort of appeal to it. So when you build your track and you put in some samples in there, it adds a different depth to it that's really beautiful. But also, you'll never get a pad, like no program's gonna come with a pad that has this type of warmth to it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like you could take you know, a Wagner piece, throw it in there, change the frequency, add a rate to it, bring up the resonance, and you would
still
get
be racist.
Yeah, exactly, and you would get a different thing as well. Sometimes it's about capturing the fidelity. So like you're saying, a cassette, there's something interesting about that. You want to throw that into the mix.
Sound quality, that's what you're capturing.
Yeah, and also the experience that you had when listening to it.
Yeah.
You want to take that experience and put it into your music.
I don't know. I don't even really know how to talk about what it is that I do. Basically, I just spent like a year trying to figure out this program without going out and hanging out with anybody, and I just got it. Like I can't articulate a single thing that I do, but I just know that it's how I make music.
I think that despite the saturation that's happening, that people are a little more open-minded to experimental dance music. And they're actually dancing to some stuff that a few years ago you would have been like, how am I supposed to dance to this?
Right.
You know, so, you know, there is a lot of great abstraction going on within the beats. That's been going on for years, obviously, but it's becoming more and more acceptable.
Well, what happened here?
Oh, what happened
music
here?
just got weird, right?
It's a good
and then
question.
It was like hard to dance to?
Well,
Then I think
it seems a little more like aliens landed, took
Central
everyone,
Park.
yeah, took
Heard about
everyone
that.
that was from New York City, put them in the spaceship, flew over Newark, and dropped them all over there. I think that's kind of
that might be what happened.
Yeah.
But they missed you.
No, I'm one of the aliens.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I would like not to blame the political situation because in a way I feel like it's no excuse for artists to let things go just because of a mayor or a terrorist bombing or anything like that. In a way I think it should actually maybe even inspire more than take away from an art form. Like there's countries that have an amazing art scene going on that have dictators running the country or famine, you know what I mean?
Well, I wonder when we look back at the last 5-10 years, and will have this been the stepping stone to taking back a lot of that type of culture? Being that, like, you know, house music is sort of from here. Like, will that become huge again, a dancing outlet around here? Or will this be the last gasp that we had, and then dancing becomes so rare, and going out becomes so rare and far and few between here?
Well, I think in a way this abstraction of dance music, where dance music is becoming more abstract and the beats are a little more all over the place, less on the grid, is a result and is in a way a rebellion against this anti-dance music.
I think it is for you.
Yeah, well, I'm just seeing it that way.
No, that's a good way to look at it, though.
Yeah, your music is definitely funky and has like a lot of flow and it's not totally strict as far as on the grid. And I think it's becoming more in more demand, you know?
Yeah.
It's
No,
like,
I think it is too. I think it is too. We just need more promoters that are really willing to take take a
Yeah.
risk and do that. You know?
Actually, you're right. I think that's a huge part of it.
It could be us as well. I should have a night. You should have a night. We should be.
Yeah, but then we have to run those nights, and
know, we're pretty
I
lazy.
sure as hell
I
can't
can't-
do it.
I can't do that
I can
too.
hardly get here to
I know.
do these interviews.
I hardly woke up on time.
All right, Drew Lussman, aka FaltyDL, right here. Thanks for coming down to Dubspot. The check's in the mail. Peace.
I sort of reject school by nature. Like, I hate school, and I went to a sonic arts program when I moved to New York, and I hated that so much it almost turned me off of making music. So I'm not sure that I would have loved it, but what I think what would have really made a difference is if I had met a teacher at a school like Dubspot that was actually doing what I wanted to do, and then they could show me how to get there. And that seems what's very practical about Dubspot to me.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.